7.3D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. The clock's ticking toward kickoff. This is Countdown to Payout. Your 2-hour sprint through the spreads, props, and fantasy plays that cash tickets on NFL Sunday. Now, here are your hosts, Sean Brace and Roy Burton.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Countdown to Payout Week 2 here on Fox Sports Gambler. Roy Burton alongside not Sean Brace today. He was on his way back from State College, so we got a little bit better looking in the studio.
Whoa.
This weekend.
Easy.
John Jansen on the other side. John Jansen, how are you?
Who knows? I could be the CB2 for the Eagles. I could be the Adoree Jackson replacement.
This is true, but you could be the Jacorian Bennett, the savior,
right? The unknown,
the prince who was promised, Jacorian Bennett. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, Roy. We got week 2. We just had an incredible college football day yesterday. Shout out to my East Carolina Pirates, 38-0 over Coastal. But we had a great day of football yesterday. We got a great day of football today. A lot of this week is that's what they are kind of week. This is what gets us our truths. Or it goes, okay, maybe they aren't what we thought they were. But this is the great week for all that.
Yeah, because week 1 we really didn't know what to expect from anybody. Like we have a general idea week 1, and then you saw that with the lines last week. Like all of the lines were pretty much within like 4 or 5 points, right? Like they were all like all these teams are kind of pretty much bunched together now. Now we're seeing a little bit more.
They all followed the script,
right? Like and now we're seeing a little bit more spread in the lines, especially with that Ravens game. You're seeing some of the teams begin to kind of separate themselves from the pack, and like you said, week 2 is where we figure out who kind of becomes one of the are some of the premier teams in each of the leagues. But we will get you ready for all of the games on the week 2 slate here on Countdown to Payout. That is what we do here each and every week, Sunday morning, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. here on Fox Sports The Gambler. Again, here with John Jansen. You can follow him on social media, jjansen34 on Twitter. John, before we get to everything this week, since you weren't here last week, since you're not on the airwaves as much as you used to be.
I know.
I do have.
That's good for everybody, not to hear my voice all the time like they used to.
I don't know about that, but I do want to ask you, who gets your game ball from week 1? Eagles, Cowboys, week 1. Who gets your game ball after what we saw this past on the kickoff game last Thursday?
I tried to avoid always going with the quarterback because I think quarterback always is the one that gets the attention.
Sure.
It's hard to go away from Jalen Hurts though. Because the defense played okay, even offensively. I think they were fine. It's not like the offensive line was completely dominant. It's not like they ran the ball really well, or AJ and Devon had big games. It was really good, and it was his demeanor, his calmness, his poise that really, because Dallas drove down the field quickly. They had an ejection early on. Everything was really the emotions were high because of the banner being raised. Everything was happening very quickly. And Jalen slowed that game down fast for them.
Mm-hmm.
That is remarkable to do. And I think just the sign of because he still is a little bit of a flawed quarterback. He's a great one,
sure,
but it's still like flawed. But he was perfect to start. And just I feel like there's always more and more maturity at playing the position. He's already a mature person mentally,
sure,
but just in terms of playing the position, I thought there was a lot of growth and maturity shown in that first game.
Yeah, a lot of the quarterback position, I know we get enamored by, touchdowns and yards and things like that. A lot of the quarterback position is kind of take what's there, right? It's like if the defense is showing you X, right, then obviously you kind of have to adjust your game plan and not play into that. And the defense clearly last week with the Cowboys was like, look, you're not going to beat us over the top. You're not going to get us, beat us with anything deep. We're going to play 2 high safeties, 82% of the time, which is a ridiculous amount.
That's insane
in the NFL. It's like, we're going to play zone defense all day, and you're going to have to beat us underneath. And Jalen was like, all right, well then, we'll kind of adjust our game plan and we'll win this game accordingly. And that's what they did.
And he took running lanes when available too. And that was really the big thing with Dallas. I just can't believe Jerry Jones traded away Micah Parsons, and it was such a gaping hole in their defense that they had no pass rush. They were undisciplined. They got a little bit better in the second half once they started to blitz,
right,
but they were acting as if they still had an elite pass rusher that was going to knock Jalen off his spot and maybe have him run into pressure, run into sacks. He ran out of it. And that is the thing from Jalen for as good of a runner as he is not great at getting away from pressure. That is not a strong suit in his game. He usually runs into it. He was great running the ball, and we really haven't seen that scrambling out of design all that much with Jalen, and he did such a good job with that, but he was taking the underneath stuff. But then I think, to me, again, the level of maturity with that position, knowing when to take the shots, that was such a great, and give credit to Kevin Patullo, too, for dialing it up for Jahan Dotson before the end of the half. But that post, big play, the biggest play of the game for them, the most explosive play of the game, and they dialed it up at the right time. And Jalen threw a great ball, and he knew that they needed a big play at that moment and took the shot. That is one thing in the quarterback position that I think is the hardest to get. And Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes had to learn it very much, that you have to take those shots. You have to be selective. Right. You got to do it at the right time. And Jalen is learning that, I think, more and more as he plays.
So you gave Jalen his kudos. I'm going to give some kudos to the linebacker position. I'll specifically go with Jahad Campbell. It's really amazing to see, what happens when you devote some resources to the linebacker position. As Eagles fans, we're used to not seeing that. I mean, we've kind of, paraded in for, a decade plus, just, random guys at linebacker. Some guys work out, some guys don't. But again, when you pay Zach, when you bring in Zach Bond and pay him, what he's worth now, considering what he gave you last year, and you bring in a guy like Jahad Campbell, who, a lot of people passed on because of his injury history. When you devote that many resources to linebacker and they play as well as they did last week against the Cowboys, it's really refreshing, right? It's really refreshing to know that you don't have to worry about a linebacker position, or just hope that those guys that you brought in are just going to be, guys who kind of play over their heads. Like, we have 2 and probably 3 when Nakobe Dean comes back. We have like 3 really good linebackers who we can trust in any situation.
And he hasn't gotten a chance, but I even think Trotter Jr. could probably step in and give you some good snaps too.
Right. Yeah. So you have like 4 starting caliber linebackers who you don't have to worry about, much of a drop off if any of those guys.
Isn't that a wild thing to say?
Oh my
God.
For
a team that hasn't really cared about linebacker for a long time.
It's gracious. I mean,
it's pretty great.
I remember the LaVon Kirkland days, man. There were years where they just devoted minimal resources to this position. And now we have almost an embarrassment of riches when it comes to that.
But, they do. And it's the evolution of Howie Roseman that, maybe it isn't the most premier position.
Sure.
But I think he kind of saw, hey, we can still have impactful players at that position. And that changes a lot. And so he did it with Saquon Barkley. Zach Bond kind of was I think a revelation for him. Like, oh, maybe we should get more linebackers, because Zach Bond changed the defense spectacularly last year. And so he goes out and gets Jahad Campbell, who I thought was maybe just going to be an edge rusher, because I know he could do some of that in college, but they put him right in an inside linebacker, I guess mostly because of the Nakobe Dean injury. But still, they drafted a first-round inside linebacker.
Right.
That's crazy. And he was impactful immediately. So that's credit to Howie Roseman for kind of making sure that position is filled, and it is filled with impactful, good players.
Roy Burton, Jon Jansen here with you. Countdown to Payout. Fox Sports The Gambler. Countdown to Payout, of course, it's brought to you by our good friends, attorney Big Al. 1-800-HURT-123. Injured at work, involved in a car wreck, there's only one man to call, and that's our friend Big Al. Don't think twice. Call 1-800-HURT-123, and Big Al will be on the call. Again, that's HURT. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Again, sponsoring this show, Countdown to Payout.
Just make sure you don't call me.
Yes.
So I don't answer.
And
it'll take about 7 to 10 business days for me to get back to you.
Yeah, if you need to get in touch with Jon Jansen, a carrier pigeon might be the best option. Because again,
I told and it's the season 4 Harry Potter in the fall. So I told Mike Powers earlier today that it's like an owl from Harry Potter. That's how you can reach me.
Of course, this is Countdown to Payout. It's time to count down to the Eagles game. Again, our cover 1 segment. I know we have imaging, but I don't know where it is. So cover 1 segment here. We have some imaging for this. It didn't work.
We don't need imaging, Roy.
It didn't work last week when Brace tried to do it.
We're gonna do this the old-fashioned way, okay?
It didn't work when Brace tried to do it last week. So
we don't need all the glamour.
We don't need the glitz.
We don't need any of that. We're just gonna do this the old-fashioned way.
Anyhow, this is our cover 1 segment. This is the segment where we break down the big story in the week that is the NFL. Of course, week 2 in the NFL, focusing on Chiefs, minus 1.5 point favorites. 46.5 line moved down a little bit, the over-under total. 425 at Arrowhead Stadium. Before we talk about this game, let's talk about the 2 newest Eagles. Welcome to Philadelphia. Tank Bigsby traded from the Jaguars in exchange for 5th and 6th round picks in the 2026 draft. 223 career rushes, 910 yards, 8 rushing touchdowns from Mr. Bigsby, who was in that mix in that ambiguous Jaguars backfield until he got traded.
Not ambiguous anymore.
Well, not anymore.
Jeez.
Is Travis Etienne,
way to take the job?
Yeah, is Travis Etienne good now? Again, is he back to being good? Is he good? Like,
maybe, but some running backs just fit in certain schemes, and that whatever he does, Liam Cohen, the now head coach, offensive coordinator with Tampa Bay last year, like these zone running schemes, I guess whatever he does just fit Etienne well.
Yeah.
And didn't Bigsby fit well with Peterson, with Doug Peterson's offense, which is a little bit more kind of traditional running game, nothing too fancy with it. But Tanks Bigsby did a great job to the point where he was really the starting running back for Jacksonville for the past season. But it just didn't fit with him in Liam Cohen's offense, and now he's here with the Eagles. And I like Bigsby. He is productive, but I do think there's a limit to him because he's not overly athletic. He's not, to me, like the shiftiest running back in the world. So it just ends up he gets tough yards, and I think that's a good thing to have behind Saquon. And
he does have a little bit of fumbleitis. 6 fumbles.
Yeah, that's not good.
In his NFL career, not good if you put the ball on the ground that many times in that limited amount of work. But Will Shipley dealing with an oblique injury. He is out. So I imagine we're going to see a pretty fair dose of Tank Bigsby in the Eagles backfield today for the Birds, and probably returning kicks as well. Also, welcome to Philadelphia, Zadarius Smith. 1-year deal for the former 3-time Pro Bowler, turned 33 earlier this week. Tallied 9 sacks last year while playing for the Browns and the Lions. Zadarius Smith bolstering a pretty anemic pass rush from the Eagles last week.
He's changed fast.
Is that a good word to use for what we saw last week?
It was. And Jalen Carter too. Like, welcome back.
Welcome back, Jalen Carter. Yeah. Back.
So that could help with maybe the pass rush, but that was a big glaring issue last week. And I think Howie Roseman kind of noticed that we need a little bit more here. I think in the end, it's going to be fine because I do like some of the additions they had in the offseason. They have a great rotation, I think, like a deep rotation, but they don't have what they used to because Josh Sweat was really good too. And he was great with Arizona last week, by the way. So they're missing kind of an elite pass rusher, and nobody's really stepped up yet. And you're just kind of hoping somebody does, like Jalix Hunt potentially. But they didn't have that. So I just think bolstering or adding to the depth of it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think Jalen Carter obviously is going to lift everybody's play this week. And of course, Jalen Carter played all of 6 seconds, or didn't play, was out. The game was 6 seconds old, I should say, before Jalen Carter was kicked out last week for spitting on Dak Prescott. He's back. Obviously, he's going to help everybody else out on that line. Even Jordan Davis, who probably won't have to play 53 snaps this week, even though he had one of his better games.
Great that he did, though.
I was saying, had one of his better games of all time, even though he played more snaps than he has ever played in his NFL career with 6 total tackles. But let me just kind of ask you just in general. I mean, we have obviously Eagles, Chiefs, 425. Kind of weird scenario for both teams coming into this game. I mean, obviously the Eagles are down, a couple bodies, most importantly Dallas Goedert, but the Eagles didn't play, didn't have the explosive offensive output last week that we kind of expect to see from this team. And obviously the Chiefs are a little bit more banged up this week than they were last week with that Xavier Worthy injury. I'm trying to figure out kind of a game script, like how I expect this game to go, but I don't know, because like, are the Chiefs going to, play like the Cowboys did last week and say, what, beat us underneath, or are the Chiefs going to, just kind of, do their thing and just kind of play their game and kind of see how the Eagles respond?
Yeah, I think it is going to be a little bit. Both teams are going to do it too, because Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs don't have an explosive offense. Right. It's going to be a lot of underneath stuff. This is going to be a slow, methodical game for both teams. It was even obviously the Super Bowl is a little bit different because the Eagles were just hitting explosive plays everywhere. But the game before that, though, they had a regular season game either last year or a couple years ago that was very low scoring, and I think it's going to be reminiscent of that. They're not going to take many chances. Chiefs are going to try and limit the explosive plays. That's why I think, and Natalie in Breakfast Before the Birds, I think Game Ball, get Saquon involved, get the running game involved. That's how you open up the passing game too. And it's going to be a little bit harder to get runs with Jalen Hurts scrambling in this game, because the one way to beat that too is great interior pressure. And Chris Jones is one of the best defensive tackles of all time. So that is going to maybe negate some of that a little bit more than Jalen Hurts was able to do last week against Dallas. So it's going to be reliant on the running game. It's going to be reliant on Saquon Barkley, and that's the play action. And if you're able to get that in play, that will help with explosive plays. But Chiefs are probably going to play, 2 deep safeties, and this is going to be an underneath game for both teams. And it's just which one kind of balks first and tries the riskier play. And does it work, or does it end up in the other team's favor? So to me, it's just going to be like, well, who's the one that kind of makes the mistake first?
Right. Yeah. Who's going to make the mistake first? Who's going to turn the ball over more? I think that's probably how this game goes down. But again, if the Chiefs play too high safety, that's obviously going to, impact on how they defend the run. And they're a very good run defensive team. Again, they were second in the league last year, second fewest fantasy points allowed to running backs in 2024. They only allowed 48 rushing yards to Omarion Hampton last week, even though Justin Herbert threw the ball all over the lot.
I was about to say, Russ defense wasn't the problem last week. It was their secondary got crushed.
Right. So again, they flip the script and say, you know what? All right, like let's just kind of stop the pass and go with that, or because again, like I think this is going to be if you had to pin me down, I think this is going to be an AJ Brown game where it's like AJ Brown, not the squeaky wheel gets the grease kind of thing, because he hasn't really been barking this week, but again, when your number one receiver gets a target, late in the fourth quarter of a game, obviously you want to feed him the ball a little bit more this game.
I expect there to be, especially early on, just maybe quick passes, something to just get him involved.
Quick slants, right?
Just to get his head into the game, get him involved in the game. I absolutely think so. And the Eagles did this, I feel like, a lot last year, where they would pass the ball early a ton and then work their way into the running game.
Right.
And I think that's going to be a little bit similar of a game plan here, where, they're going to get some quick passes out to AJ, get him involved early, have him maybe make some game-breaking plays, but then settle into a nice running game. And I really do. I think this is going to be this. I hate to say going to be a Saquon game, but I think they're going to need to rely on him a little bit more than they did last week. Just again, because if they're going to play 2 deep safeties, that's the one way to beat it, or that's the one way to make them think differently about it.
Yeah, so last week, of course, A.J. Brown, 1 target. Of course, that 1 catch at the end of the game to kind of seal things. 3 targets for Devontae Smith. Again, I would think we're going to expect some of that to change, or at least a fair amount of that to change this week. But over-under, speaking of Saquon Barkley, over-under for Saquon Barkley's rushing yards on DraftKings, 85.5. So that's a pretty healthy number. Last week, he had 60 yards on the ground. The Cowboys did a pretty good job of kind of containing him a little bit, at least especially in the second half. But Vegas thinks that Saquon's kind of going to get loose a little bit. 85.5. That's a pretty healthy number for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if I bet that necessarily.
I don't know if I would either. As much as I'd like to, it's just such a high number.
It's a big number.
And, with the lack of a running game last week, I'm just hesitant. I'm hesitant with a lot about this game.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I don't love a lot about this game from a betting standpoint. Like, I mean, I like the Eagles to win.
Yes, I do like the side. I like the Eagles spread 1.5, and I think it's minus 108 on DraftKings. So
minus 108.
That I like, but how it happens, that I'm very much hesitant about and questioning.
Yeah, so Saquon Barkley, as I mentioned, 85.5 rushing yards over under. Jalen Hurts, 41.5 rushing yards. Again, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Like this is really just a really weird situation with that 8.5 rushing attempts. I might like the over on that for Jalen. But again, there's a lot from this that I just do not like from a betting standpoint.
Yeah, there were only 2 player props that I went for.
Okay.
And they're both Chiefs ones, but I don't think it's indicative of the Chiefs winning.
So let me guess. So Kelsey yards?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, then I got nothing.
I'm going Hollywood Brown receptions.
What's the
7+ receptions at plus 129.
Okay.
He could get into the double digits for this game. That was an Achilles heel for the Eagles last week, that they were kind of giving up a lot of easy passes, and Dak Prescott was able to shred that. I think Patrick Mahomes is at least, maybe not many explosive plays, maybe not, the best game passing, because Kansas City just hasn't had that recently because they don't really have the pass catchers to do it. But they will go underneath a lot, and they are just going to pepper, I think, Hollywood Brown. He seemed to be more of a possession receiver for them last week, and I think he's going to do so again this week. It's just going to be how do the Eagles handle it? Are they going to shadow him with maybe Cooper DeJean, or maybe shadow him with Quinyon Mitchell? But either way, Andy Reid's smart. I think he's going to try and get some advantageous matchups for Hollywood Brown, and he's probably going to have matchups where he's on Adoree Jackson or has Adoree Jackson on him. So I like Hollywood Brown 7+ receptions and Patrick Mahomes 25+ rushing yards. They have no running game. And they also, their passing game is not explosive. So one of the ways that Patrick Mahomes has been able to combat that is running the ball and himself and trying to make plays with his legs. And he did so last week, and I think again this week. So 25+ for Mahomes.
Yeah, just to circle back on that Hollywood Brown, he had a league high 16 targets in week 1.
That's a lot of targets, Roy.
That's a lot of targets for anybody, much less Hollywood Brown. Obviously, the game situation kind of made that happen, but that's a lot of targets. I would imagine, to your point, I would imagine that he's going to see a lot of Quinyon Mitchell this week. But as we all know, as you said, Andy Reid is going to line him up outside. He's going to line him up in a slot. He's going to
he'll be all over. He's going to be in motion. He's
Yeah.
going to be everywhere.
He's going to be in motion, and like Quinyon's not going to run around chasing this dude, for 60 minutes. So there are going to be some times where like he's just going to be matched up on someone else, whether it's Cooper DeJean, whether it's whoever CB2 is this week, where he's going to get loose.
Whoever
it is, whether it's a Dory or whether it's
TBD.
TBD. So I think he's probably going to get loose a little bit. I don't hate that. I do like the only prop that I kind of like is the Travis Kelce over 44.5 receiving yards. There's nobody else, man. I mean, like, God bless Juju Smith-Schuster and God bless Tyquan Thornton. But I mean, like, the Chiefs are going to win this game. Like, Patrick Mahomes is going to have to throw for like 260, 200 plus yards.
He's just going to have to throw.
He's going to have to throw.
The attempts are going to be high.
Right. They're going to be a ton of attempts. Well, yeah. What's his attempts number? Let me look at that. That's probably a good bet. But
let me look that up.
He's probably going to have to throw the ball a lot. And at some point, you're going to have to throw the ball to Travis Kelce. And I know he had 4 catches last week.
He said 38 plus.
Yeah. It's like
you can go
38 at
36 plus is minus 132. 38 plus is plus 117. He had 39 last week. He gets over 40.
I was going to say he's probably going to have to get close to 39 this week. So so I don't hate that. So I will probably go. I'll probably go over 44.5 receiving yards for Travis Kelce at minus 110. The Chiefs under Andy Reid haven't started a season 0-2 since 2014. That was also the last time they missed the playoffs. So over a decade's worth of dominance, at least in the early part of the season for the Chiefs. Let me ask you a question before I get your official opinion on this. And I was gonna tweet you about this, but I just wanted to kind of bring this in just cold. Is Jalen Hurts the biggest rival of Patrick Mahomes?
Ooh. I mean, it's getting there because they've played a lot in the regular season too.
They've played each other when they were both healthy.
How many times
twice in the regular season and twice in Super Bowls.
Yeah. How many times though has there been a rival in another conference?
That's one question. Right.
Because
it's rare.
Brady and Manning, it was just back and forth all the time. So to me, I consider Patrick Mahomes' rivals to be more Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. And maybe Jalen Hurts is going to get one soon, Jordan Love, just because with the way the Packers look and Love looking healthy. Love has looked awesome, by the way.
Looks really good.
But at this point, they've played a lot. Like, they've played a ton, and the regular season is part of it. It's just that they're not going to have that many playoff matchups, I would assume. I don't think they're going to get to the Super Bowl every single year. As of right now, a rival. And
no, the biggest. No, the
biggest.
The
no,
biggest.
I would still say like Josh Allen.
But is Josh Allen really his rival if he wins all the time in the postseason? Like, he's like,
Tom Brady won a lot too.
But I'm saying Mahomes is 4-0 against Allen in the postseason.
True.
Like, is it really a rivalry? Like, Allen wins in the regular season.
Absolutely. But Tom Brady beat Manning a lot. And that was
That's
still
fair.
like every single year. That was always the biggest rival and the biggest game because those were, two of the best quarterbacks. Yeah, I think it's Josh Allen, and I don't think the Chiefs get to the Super Bowl this year. They are not going to get there every year. There's going to be a year where they don't make it to an AFC championship. And I think this is the year where they run into either a Josh Allen Bills team that's ready to finally take them down and has had so many chances to do it, or Lamar and the Ravens finally have that playoff run that they've been waiting for. But either way, I think that is going to ignite the rivalry a lot more once they do beat. And I think they will.
Yeah, I agree. Josh Allen 4-1 versus Mahomes in the regular season, 0-4 in the playoffs. Lamar Jackson 1-5 overall versus Mahomes, and 1-0 in the postseason. Like, he's just the man who just denies everyone titles. like
he does absolutely.
You have Hall of Fame or soon to be Hall of Fame worthy quarterbacks in the AFC. And there's going to be so many guys who are going to have Hall of Fame level careers who probably won't win a Super Bowl. Just because this man.
It's just you're in the same conference with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And look, it's the Chiefs have been a great team too, and Andy Reid has been a great coach and Hall of Fame career. Right. So there's just so many factors there, including obviously having the greatest quarterback maybe of all time.
Sure,
but it's been. Man, they're a wagon.
A wagon.
Eventually, it is going to fall apart, though, and I think it's starting to.
Yeah. I think we're seeing the Oregon Trail, the axle breaking on the wagon.
Yeah.
With these Chiefs.
Nice little Oregon Trail reference.
Gotta bring it back for the older listeners here on Countdown to Payout. All right, I gotta put
demographics getting too young.
Exactly.
Let's get the old heads back in here.
This is,
I'm feeling it, Roy. I'm 31 now.
I was gonna say like
I'm an old head now.
It's like you produced a Mike Kern and Dick Girardi show, the old head show on
Yeah,
Saturdays.
it's my favorite show.
That's what I'm saying. We got to cater to the old heads here.
Yeah, I love it.
Gotta love it. All right, Eagles, 1.5 point favorites today, 425. The Chiefs, Arrowhead Stadium. Give me a score, Mr. Jansen. What do you got?
I'm gonna be closer. I heard you and Natalie earlier on Breakfast with the Birds, which you can hear before every Eagles game.
Yes.
I'm around where you guys are. I would think like 23-20, something like that. Settling for some field goals. You're going to get some offense, but I just don't think there's going to be a lot of explosive plays. It is going to be who makes the mistake, who's the one that tries maybe to go outside of what the game plan is, and just it's going to be a lot of discipline because they're all going to go underneath. So it's going to be slow, methodical. It's going to be drives that take off a lot of clock as well. So I'm going a little bit low scoring, but 23-20 would be my score. Yeah, no, I'm right there. 24-20 Birds. I think it's going to be the same thing. We talked about getting A.J. Brown involved early. I think that happens. I think he probably sneaks in the end zone, for a touchdown as well. But, there'll be some point in the game where like it looks like, the Eagles are in firm control. And then, like Mahomes will have one of those, like you said, long methodical drives, 8-minute drives. Hollywood Brown will kind of like line up in the slot and get loose and kind of make the score a little bit closer than Eagles fans would like. But yeah, I think a 24-20 game. I think it hits the under. I think the Eagles win and obviously cover. I do think the Eagles win. Yeah, 23-20 was also an Eagles win. Yeah, I think they win and obviously cover. But yeah, I don't expect a high scoring game. I don't expect a shootout. I think it's a pretty comfortable. Yeah, don't expect 40 points. Yeah. I think it's a pretty comfortable win for the Eagles. And again, it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, we're Eagles focused. Interesting to see how the Chiefs come back from that 0-2 hole, because again, they're something they haven't been used to in more than a decade. Yeah, and especially with the way the Eagles looked against Dallas, you can pass on them. Yes. This isn't the same secondary from last year that you couldn't do anything on. They are missing a pretty significant piece in cornerback 2 spot. With Adoree Jackson not playing well. There's something that you can focus on there and go after. It's just that I don't know if the Chiefs have the skill players to do it. And that's really the shame of it, is you have maybe one of the most dynamic, explosive players in all of football in Patrick Mahomes, and you don't have a single player that can help him do it. Right. Yeah. So not the best situation for Patrick Mahomes, but as I said on Breakfast Before the Birds with Natalie Eganoff, we've seen that man turn water into wine quite a bit. So. It's remarkable they made the Super Bowl last year. Yeah, it's unbelievable. They were 15-2. It's remarkable that they beat. I don't know how they've done it. Honestly, last year was unbelievable. Yeah, I don't know how they were able to beat the Eagles in the first Super Bowl that they played against each other. Yeah. I have no idea how they were able to beat San Francisco in the Super Bowl that they played. I don't know how they got to a Super Bowl last year. Yeah. The run they've been on with so many glaring flaws and never fixing it. Like, yeah, the first Super Bowl they won. Yeah, Tyreek Hill's one of the most dynamic players. Travis Kelce was still in his prime. Right. All of that's gone. And they've been filling it with pieces like Juju Smith-Schuster and Kadarius Toney. Right. You pick, Kareem Hunt off the scrap heap and get back to the Super Bowl. The thing is, too, though, even like Brady did it in a way, but that still was like elite defense. Yeah. Like elite defense. The Chiefs are good. That's not elite defense. No. The Chiefs defense has never been even what the Eagles were last year. But it's been Mahomes figuring out a way every single time. It's the only quarterback I think I can truly say he can just do anything with anyone. Right. And there's no other. Josh Allen needs help. Lamar Jackson needs help. Joe Burrow needs help. Justin Herbert needs help. Jalen Hurts needs help. Every single quarterback in the existence of football has needed help. And it just feels like for the first time I can truly say, I don't think Mahomes needs it. No. But eventually you're going to have to give him something. Right. But the fact that he has been doing it for 3 straight years over and over and over again is remarkable. And it's eventually not going to be the case. And I think this year is where you start to see things like they lose twice in the first 2 games, or like lose back-to-back games for the first time since X amount of years. I think it's going to be a lot of that this season for them. I don't know if you are familiar with that tweet about LeBron when he turned 30. And there was a tweet about LeBron turning 30, and there was like, LeBron's turning 30, like at some point, like we're getting close to the end of this. Right. His dominance can't go on forever. Yeah, I can't use the word that he said, but like, we're getting close to the end of this. And then a decade later, LeBron's still making all NBA teams. Not to get too much on my LeBron soapbox,
Yeah.
I still don't think we talk enough about the nine straight finals.
How great he is.
The
That's
9
unbelievable.
straight finals is one of the most absurd runs I've seen any
With
player
multiple
in any
teams.
sport have.
Right.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Multiple teams, and it's not like those teams stayed together. It was multiple different players coming in and out, and he made 9 straight NBA finals.
Yeah. Yeah, doesn't make
that
any sense.
That never happens. You can't do that. And look, Mahomes is starting to create his own legacy with that. He's been to how many straight Super Bowls and AFC Championship games? That is a hard run to do. We thought 4 NFC Championship games for the Eagles was kind of wild,
which it was.
Wild.
Right.
But they only went to 1 Super Bowl. The Chiefs have been to 3.
Yeah.
And Patrick Mahomes is what, 5 straight AFC Championship games?
Yeah.
That's a LeBron level run.
It really is.
And I will not ever take that for granted, but even like the Browns did, it ended. I think it's getting close to that.
Yeah. Hopefully the Eagles can put the first nail in the coffin on that end of that Chiefs run today.
This would be, wouldn't it?
It probably would be.
Yeah, it would be that first step to all of this.
Probably would be. Anyhow, we will talk more about the NFL Week 2 because there are 14 other games we have to break down this week.
What?
On Countdown to Payout. Yeah, 14 other games we got to talk about on the show this week. Roy Burton, Jon Jansen.
Do we even have enough time?
We're going to make enough time. We're going to do rapid fire next week. Next segment, we'll discuss next segment of all of the Week 2 games here on Fox Sports The Gambler.
It's the Marketer's Report. Today, Erica Taylor, Chief Marketing Officer of Genentech, explains how audio is an ideal way for brands to tell their stories.
Everyone is listening somewhere, somehow. I think that there's something deep in all of us that enjoys listening to and telling stories. When I think about what we do here at Genentech, we do a lot to actually tell the broader story of our company and the legacy that we stand upon. 45 years marketing more than 40 medicines over that time period. And we celebrate that in story form, in audio format. It's a great way for people to learn more about what we offer and to be educated in an easy and convenient way.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia can get more people to hear your message than anyone else. We can also get a better response rate for all your marketing. For better results for every budget, visit iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
Sean Brace here for DraftKings Sportsbook. Now, the NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers, listen up. You can bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code BRACE. That's code BRACE to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Pennsylvania only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
And here we have a specimen from the early 2000s, a legacy investing platform. Please don't touch the exhibit, folks. It could crash.
Ready to step out of the financial history museum? At public.com, you can invest in almost everything: stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind. Go to public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at public.com/disclosures.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks Vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No. Call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com.
If you can wager on it, we're talking about it. It's The Gambler.
Sorry, week 2 of the NFL season. There we go. Roy Burton, Jon Jansen here with you. Week 2 NFL season countdown to payout.
Our first oops of the day.
First oops of the day. First oops of the day. Won't be the last.
I love a good oops.
Won't be the last. But before we get to the week 2 action, we do need to give a shout out to our good friends over at 1-800-BIG-AL. If you've been hurt in an accident, one call is all it takes. Call attorney Big Al. With years of experience fighting for accident victims, Big Al knows how to get you the maximum settlement you deserve. Don't let the insurance companies push you around. Big Al and his team are available 24/7 to fight for your rights. So remember, if you've been injured in an accident, call 1-800-BIG-AL. I'm just going to call 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Attorney Big Al, he's got your back. And ladies and gentlemen, we have your back. Because we have
I will say one thing, Roy.
Yes.
I always trust a guy who's named like Big Al.
You have to.
Like
an attorney, especially?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like Big Dom. Yeah. The Eagles trust that guy. No wonder.
Absolutely.
It's Big Dom. Anytime I hear something that's like, yeah, I trust that guy. Big Al, for sure.
Absolutely.
Big Al's got your back.
He's got your back. We've got your back. We've got the latest injury news for the NFL week 2. A lot of guys out this week. Again, we had a little bit of
and so it begins.
And so it begins. I mean, we thought we kind of got away scot free a little bit for week 2 after week 1, but a lot of guys out this week. One guy not out because of injury. I'm not sure what the situation is in Atlanta. Younghoe Koo, the kicker, after kind of, I don't want to say choking the game away last week, but after missing that kick last week against the Tampa Bay, he's out, not injury related. Parker Romo is the kicker for Atlanta. So if Younghoe Koo is your kicker in fantasy, please make the appropriate adjustments. Ed Oliver, defensive tackle with the Bills, he's out today. Tre'Davious White is questionable.
Big loss.
Questionable. I don't know if Tre'Davious White, I haven't seen the latest about him. I don't know if he's in or out for the Bills. I know he missed last week. Juwan Jennings is questionable, but is supposed to be trending towards playing. We'll get you that information.
Somebody's actually playing for San Francisco this week?
There's very few guys. CMC and
how many touches does McCaffrey get? Like 40, 50 maybe?
Exactly. Tons of targets for McCaffrey and Ricky Pearsall in that San Francisco offensive attack this week. Christian Gonzalez, cornerback for the Patriots, he is out this week again for the second straight week. Bunch of guys out for the Vikings. No Andrew Van Ginkel, no Jeff Okudah, no Christian Darrisaw, all out for the Vikings this weekend. Christian Kirk is also out for the Houston Texans. But before we start talking about this week's games, I have to ask you about last week. Again, I hate being the prisoner of the moment, but I was watching Bills Ravens last week, and I'm like, you know what? This is probably the game of the year, and it's week 1. Am I wrong? Was I wrong on that?
In the way that it was played, sure. And there was a lot of dramatics for a week 1 game.
Yeah.
But the one thing it was lacking, a little meaning. A
little bit.
It's like, this wasn't for a playoff spot. This wasn't in the playoffs. This wasn't, okay, well, we're getting down to the last few weeks and this is a huge game. It was a fun game to watch. Let's just say it was one of the more exciting, fun games, but best game, we got plenty of that on the horizon. So I'm not going to be caught the prisoner of the moment.
That was a fantastic football game.
It was really good.
It's everything you wanted in the football game. You got a ton of points. You got, drama at the end. You got, you can question the coaching decisions at the end of the game. Yeah, you got, choking if you want to call it that. I'm telling you right now, I will say this on these airwaves. I don't know if we see a better football game in the regular season this year. I don't.
Oh,
in the regular season. That's my qualifier.
I'm going to disagree with you.
You got 251 yard passing yards out of Josh Allen in the fourth quarter. In one quarter, 251.
I just can't. I can't live with that. I can't live with okay, that's it. We reached the peak of the NFL regular season.
It's all downhill
in week 1. Get out of here. I can't. It was a good witching hour though.
Oh, fantastic witching hour. Yeah. Kudos to Scott Hansen for holding us down, despite the influx of commercials that have ruined the product forever.
What happened in this country?
You know what? We used to
commercials in red zone.
We used to be a proper country.
Remember when we had 2 red zones?
Oh my
commercial
goodness.
free?
Yeah.
And now we only have 1 and it's not commercial free?
Yeah, so what's Andrew Siciliano
I was about to say,
what's he doing these days?
Yo, is this an opportunity?
Maybe it is.
Maybe, sneak in and just go, hey, we're the commercial free red zone now.
Listen.
I'm just saying there's an opportunity.
Not saying, just saying.
What is he doing now?
I don't know. I would like to know, but yeah, we used to be a proper country, multiple red zones, no commercials. Now we have a minute of commercials and
back in my day.
Exactly. Again,
God, we really are demographics going to shoot up big time after this show.
Man. All right. We do also want to talk about the game we saw this past Thursday. Packers Commanders. Micah Parsons you understand this reference. I believe he's probably the missing infinity stone for that Green Bay defense. Like, not that he had like specifically, a major impact, because he had 2 tackles, and a sack last week, but like he just makes everybody better on that defense. And I curse Jerry Jones every morning because now Green Bay is a legit contender to the Eagles.
I know it's not only that they traded him away, because that was like good thing he's not in Dallas anymore.
Right.
And like you traded him to the Packers, the contenders, and it's just, it's the last missing infinity stone. And now it's complete for Green Bay in a way that it hasn't. They've been really good, but now they look like the Eagles of last year. They look like the juggernaut defense. Jordan Love's playing extremely well too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shame that the Jaden Reed play got called back, because that throw is maybe the best throw of the game and maybe the best throw I've seen so far this year from anybody. Jordan Love's been on fire.
Yeah.
And they have a good running game too, and a reliable running back in Josh Jacobs, a good offensive line to go with it. The wide receivers, there's no elite one, nobody that completely stands out. But look, Dobbs can work and Wicks can work, and Matthew Golden's just going to get more work. And Tucker Kraft is awesome.
He's very
good. He looks like one of the better NFL tight ends. So there's just so many pieces now that they have gotten together that just are Super Bowl worthy. And to me, they're the best team in football right now. It's very close because I think the Ravens actually could be. It's just depending. That defense has to get better. They're too good, too talented to give up 40-something points to any team. That includes a team led by Josh Allen. So they're up there for me, and the Eagles are obviously up there as well. But the Packers are almost close to being perfect. It feels like an Eagles team from last year.
Yeah, they're definitely the biggest threat to the Eagles in the NFC as it stands right now. Of course, things could change. Week 2 in the NFL, things can change, and we will find out.
Injuries happen, things happen, and Packers were hit by the injury bug last year.
Sure.
So it can absolutely happen to them.
And we'll learn a lot more about a lot of teams this week, starting with Niners Saints. You talked about it before. Not too many healthy bodies for the San Francisco 49ers. George Kittle is out. Brock Purdy is out. Juwan Jennings is banged up, but he is playing. He is active. He is in the lineup today. But looks like a lot of targets for Christian McCaffrey, who, again, is historically been banged up. Ricky Pearsall, and, of course, Jennings this week. CMC, for those of you inclined to play DFS, most rostered running back in week 2 in DFS.
Has to be.
He's on more than 25% of rosters because he's going to get a lot of work against the Saints team that's probably not going to put up a lot of points offensively. So it's going to be I would think it's going to be a game script that's going to lean a lot towards San Fran running the ball quite a bit and controlling the clock. But yeah, I think the Niners kind of win this game comfortably now that Jennings is in the mix. I don't know what you think about this.
I guess so, but you're also asking me to pick on a game that features Mac Jones and Spencer Rattler.
And Spencer Rattler, not the best quarterback matchup we have.
Oh, that is ugly.
Ugly.
So there is a chance that Mac Jones does fit, and we've seen Kyle Shanahan make most quarterbacks work. Like
Sure.
Nick Mullins was productive with San Francisco. Mac Jones can be productive.
Sure.
And a lot of last year was Jacksonville just being really bad too, and Mac Jones didn't have a chance to be any good. But also a lot of that is he's bad. So I can't safely pick San Francisco, but that is absolutely where I lean. And now that this has gotten to under 3, and this is
under 3. I didn't see that.
I'm seeing that on the
geez,
I have to check DraftKings.
Yeah, let me look at DraftKings. The last number I had was 4.5, but I might be having it's 3 now. Yeah, 3.
Wow. So
3 and 40 and a half is the total. Yeah, my number's out of date. It was 4.5 yesterday.
It opened at 7.5. And I know Brock Purdy it should go down when he goes out.
Sure.
5 points? Is it really?
That's a lot. Yeah, 4.
That's a lot. That's a lot. 4 or 5 points it's gone down.
Yeah, for a Brock Purdy, level quarterback, I don't know.
Well, just because there is still a good floor for this offense even without Brock Purdy.
Right.
And it's not this. That's not anything bad about Brock Purdy. Like, he's already proven me wrong. I still am his biggest hater, and I will always be that. But this isn't really about him. It's just there is still a very high floor for a Kyle Shanahan-led offense, especially when Christian McCaffrey's there. Like, we've seen the numbers. I remember doing this when everybody's like, oh, well, Brock Purdy's doing great, and it's so much better than it used to be. Well, Jimmy Garoppolo's numbers when they got Christian McCaffrey at first were great. And then Brock Purdy's numbers with Christian McCaffrey were great. And when Christian McCaffrey went down, everything else went down for San Francisco.
Yeah.
So it's really that he leads everything. He is the one that makes the engine go because he's such an elite pass catcher. He's a great running back. And Kyle Shanahan's offenses, they're not elite because of some crazy passing scheme. It is because they are a phenomenal running football team with Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
And Christian McCaffrey is one of the best to do it. So I just think that there's still a very high floor for their offense as long as he's in their backfield.
Yeah, you've seen over the years, Christian McCaffrey's hurt. They would throw in Jordan Mason. They would throw in Isaac Guerrero. Not really miss a beat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, this Niners offense is still going to be productive regardless of who the quarterback is. Speaking of the quarterback, on the other side, we have Spencer Rattler, who still has not won an NFL game, still winless as an NFL starter. That's probably reason 1, 2, and 3 why I'm not a big believer in the Saints this week. I don't believe in Spencer Rattler. I'm not a big fan of the pass catchers they have. Although I will say Jon Jansen, very productive as a tight end. Probably their best pass catcher, all things considered.
Probably
12 plus fantasy points in his last 3 games. But other than the Niners, covering this 3, I don't like much from this game. If I'm looking at props, McCaffrey over 4.5 receptions, sure. Pearsall, I like the over 54.5 receiving yards before the Juwan Jennings news. I don't like it as much now. But I still think McCaffrey gets a ton of work in this game. So that's probably the only thing I touch on.
Yeah, how bad is it? So you mentioned that Spencer Rattler has not won a single NFL game as a starter.
Correct.
They drafted an old quarterback in the 2nd round who has played in Tyler Show, that has played a lot of college football.
Mm-hmm.
If he's not ready and if he's not better than Spencer Rattler now, what's the point?
Yeah.
Like sometimes I don't get it with teams like Denver was right to start Bo Nix right away because he played a ton of college football. If he doesn't get it now, he never will.
Right.
Now, that's the thing with those quarterbacks too, is like, I don't think there's significant improvement for Bo Nix because he is what he is. He's played enough football that you kind of know. And I think it's going to be the same thing with Tyler Show. You already know what he is. And if you're not confident in him now, when are you? And especially when your starting quarterback is of the quality or lack of Spencer Rattler, when is it ever going to change then? Like, is he ever going to get good enough for you to feel really confident in a 2nd round quarterback that you pick?
Yeah, at a certain point, you just got to figure out what you have, right? Like maybe this is too early for Tyler Show or whatever. But I mean, like, more specifically, I'm just thinking of that situation in Indianapolis, right? Like, you have to figure out what you're doing with Anthony Richardson. Like, I know Daniel Jones is a better quarterback today.
And
I
that's
understand
right.
Right. But at some point, you got to play Anthony Richardson to see if he can play. You have to. Like, otherwise, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Well, I think they did themselves a disservice by playing him right away. Anthony Richardson played 1 season as a starter in college football.
Yeah.
1.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that guy probably needs a couple of years.
Yeah, probably.
Give him some time. Like, it's a completely different situation with Tyler Show, who has played a lot. Like, what does he need to see now? What does he need to learn that he hasn't? And that's the reason why I didn't like him coming out of college, because he still made boneheaded decisions. And, like, if you haven't knocked any of that stuff out of your game, like, now, you're never going to. But Anthony Richardson needed time. Like, I think they needed 2 or 3 years, and then have him out there. And then once he understands the game a little bit more, he develops good habits and he could be a great quarterback for you. Instead, they just threw him out there right away. And you could tell, like, there's something there, but it's not nearly ready yet. He's not nearly ready enough yet.
Yeah, let's I don't mean to skip ahead to the 4:00 games, but let's talk about Broncos Colts since we're on the Colts. Daniel Jones led the Colts on to scores on all 7 possessions last week against Miami. Granted, it's Miami, and Miami's terrible. But, that's a feather in his cap. Kudos to Daniel Jones for putting up 33 last week against the Dolphins. The Broncos defense, very, very good. I don't know, again, with Patrick Surtain on the other side, I don't know how the Colts are going to kind of, repeat that performance from last week and put up 33 points. Maybe this is a game for Tyler Warren, right? Maybe this is a game for Josh Downs, because I think Surtain probably shadows Pittman, I would say, and kind of keeps the Colts in check. And I think the Broncos offense is probably good, all things considered, and they'll put up enough points to outscore the Colts. This might be one of my favorite bets of the week. I like the Broncos minus 2.5.
Okay. I can go with that. I do like that. Maybe this is a bit of, now we aren't sure how great Shane Steichen may be as an offensive coordinator or just an offensive play caller. But maybe this is a situation like Sam Darnold in Minnesota last year with Kevin O'Connell, that you just kind of get the quarterback that you do the thing I ask you to do. There is going to be, like, I'm going to scheme somebody open. Just make sure you make that read, throw it, and throw it good. And Sam Darnold's great at that. Once you ask him to do more or you put more on his plate, that's where Sam Darnold becomes what he was at the Jets, and he's seeing ghosts, and probably what he's going to do with Seattle this year. I didn't think he looked great at all last week. And maybe Daniel Jones is the same thing, that you give him that, like, there was a lot on his plate with Brian Dable's offense, especially once they got rid of or didn't sign Saquon Barkley back. There was a lot more on his plate, and he couldn't handle it. Now Shane Steichen, it last week was mostly, I'm calling a great game, just throw it where it needs to be. And Daniel Jones can do that. He can't, once he's in structure and in the play design, he is an accurate quarterback, and his footwork's all great, everything. He's an accurate quarterback. He has the arm to make these throws, and he was phenomenal last week. As long as that can happen with him, then he'll be good. But it's just week to week, is that going to be the case? Things do get tougher. They're playing a much tougher defense in Denver. So they're probably going to knock him out of structure a little bit more. So I'm just interested to see how that goes and how good Steichen can maybe outcoach Denver. But Denver still has a really great coach in Sean Payton, and Bo Nix is probably going to play better. Although I'm a little bit questioning of what is Bo Nix going to be this year, because last year was a little bit, to me, like he was playing above what he probably is, and does he come back down to earth?
Yeah, like
and I think maybe last week was a sign of that.
Yeah, like to me, like this is like you know what we saw from CJ Stroud in year 2, right? Like CJ Stroud year 1, like fantastic, phenomenal. Bo Nix year 1. Doing things rookie quarterbacks shouldn't do, right? 29 touchdowns, like quarterback, and a bunch of yards on the ground as well. Like rookie quarterbacks, without a whole lot of talent around Bo Nix, he was way above his head. Awesome last year. I think we see a little bit more of a regression this year, to your point. So this is going to be a pretty good litmus test and see, all right, how good is Bo Nix really? Like, is he more of the quarterback that we saw in year 1, or is he going to kind of have like those growing pains, that sophomore slump, if you will? In week 2,
he was all over the place last week.
Yeah, all over the place quite a bit. But I mean, the Colts and the Colts are, they can put up a pretty decent fight. All things they're not a doormat. All things being equal. And Jonathan Taylor last year, 107 yards against Denver. So like they should be able to move the ball a bit. He did. That was a game where he dropped the ball before the end zone. I don't know if you remember.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if you remember.
No.
Yeah. So maybe Jonathan Taylor has a little bit something extra to prove this week, to actually carry the ball into the end zone this week against the Broncos. But I do love Denver. That's one of my bigger bets of the week. I don't like really any props from this game, to be honest. Like fantasy wise, prop wise, like I don't touch a lot of like the Denver receivers. I don't really trust that much. If you want to play Tyler Warren DFS wise, knock yourself out. But like there's no one who I I love from this game as far as a fantasy or DFS
Harvey
play.
At all, or maybe because his props still have to be pretty low.
Yeah, but I just hate that Denver backfield is just so ambiguous. Like it's just like you just never know. It's like a week to week thing in Denver, right? It's not there's never I mean, Dobbins is right now RB1. It's gonna get most of the work, I imagine. But that could just change, drive from drive. So I just don't know. Like it's just one of those. For me, this is a fantasy DFS stay away completely game. But I do love the Broncos and the points though. I do love.
I would go Broncos as well.
All right, let's move on. Cowboys 4.5 point favorites. 44.5 is your total. I didn't know this, and I didn't realize this until I saw this yesterday. Dak Prescott has won 13 straight against the Giants.
He wins a lot of games in the division.
13 in a row. Dallas has won 15 of their last 16 against the New York Giants. Like they literally own this team and have owned this team for the better part of a decade. This is a pretty good spot for the Cowboys team, and it hasn't started 0-2 since 2010. So I think this is a really good spot at home for the Cowboys to get right. Another kind of banged up and dealing with some things, but after what happened last week, I mean, we see the Cowboys I think they're a little bit better than a lot of people think. I don't think they're good, but I think they're better than a lot of people think. And I think they can put up enough points to cover this 4.5 against the Cowboys at home, even with Deron Bland out. Trevon Diggs is back. So with Trevon Diggs is back, I think they can kind of hold this Giants team in check offensively. And I think they can score, enough to kind of cover that number.
Yeah, to me, this needs to be closer to a touchdown. Like 6.5 would be a reasonable number.
Right.
Because I know Dallas lost last week, and there's a lot of negative stuff coming out of there just because they traded away Micah Parsons. Dak looked awesome. And as long as Dak is healthy, I don't think people realize enough that he is a great quarterback. And he's going up against a really bad Giants defense. And so you get a spot where Dak Prescott kills the Giants.
Right.
So that's already in your favor. Dak Prescott's great at home, and they're back home. This is their home opener. That's in your favor as well. And just seeing how the offense worked with Pickens and CeeDee Lamb last week, and even with Jake Ferguson, there's plenty of pass catchers there. There's a lot for Dak to work with. The only thing you would question with Dallas is, how is their defense going to maybe get back what they lost with Micah Parsons? Is there any way they can get pass rush? Is there anybody that can step up and change games for them the way Micah Parsons did? So that is a big loss. The thing with the Giants, though, they're starting Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is their starter. This dude's been cooked for years now. So I don't think it matters what Dallas's defense looks like because Russ stinks. So this is just an easy one for me. This is one of my favorite bets.
Yeah.
I love Dallas here. I think they smoke them.
So we have a couple of segments in this show. One's it's called Standing on Business, where we kind of stand up and we give a take.
Is that standing on business?
We feel here's the thing. So we stand take that we feel really strongly about, and one called the crystal ball, where it's like next week. What's the big story that we're going to be talking about? Now, my crystal ball this week was going to be Jackson Dart, starting quarterback, New York Giants, week 3, but they play the Chiefs next week. I don't think you throw them into the fire next week, but I'm giving you right now an early crystal ball prediction. Jackson Dart, starting quarterback, New York Giants, week 4.
I'm actually going to go week 3. I don't think they're going to have a choice after this game. It is going to be so obvious that Russell Wilson cannot be starting or out there on an NFL field.
Yeah, there's no point.
Last week was to me like he doesn't belong out there anymore. He shouldn't be. Yeah, there's no point. And you just gotta there's gonna be no great situation for Jackson Dart to come in. I know the Chiefs are maybe one of the worst ones, especially if they lose and they lose back-to-back games for the first time since how many years? Yeah, that'll be tough. But you gotta just play. I just don't think they're gonna have a choice.
Yeah, no, you have to, and you have Jackson Dart is able to come in and be competent at the quarterback position, right? We saw in the preseason, we saw him be fine, right? Like, obviously he's going to have growing pains and have issues, as all rookie quarterbacks do, but he's not going to set the house on fire, right? Like, Russell Wilson is setting your house on fire every single time he takes a snap for the Giants. And
he has set a lot of houses on fire.
Set a lot of houses on fire last few years. Yeah. So no, Jackson Dart will be the quarterback.
Making a lot of money doing it too.
God bless him. So Jackson Dart will be the quarterback should be the quarterback sooner rather than later. Maybe as early as next week for the New York Giants. All right, really quick before we take a break, let's do Bears Lions. Bears, I think, are 5.5-point dogs as I saw this, to the Lions. Of course, this is the Ben Johnson Bowl, if you want to call it that. 6 points. Now it's up to 6 points. 6-point dogs to the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions didn't look like the Detroit Lions offensive juggernaut that we're used to seeing. I mean, 46 rushing yards last week. That offensive line looked really suspect.
Awful.
Real suspect without Frank Ragnow in week 1. Jon Jansen, let me ask you the simple question. Is this a get-right game for the Lions? It's at home, divisional opponent, a team that you kind of know pretty well. The Lions know, you start 0-2, like Super Bowl's probably out. Like, is this a get-right game for a Lions team that probably needs it more than the Bears do?
Yeah, I think it's more of they don't have to play the Packers this week.
Yeah.
And it's going to look like a team that's not playing Green Bay. Any team that's played Green Bay has looked awful so far. Yeah. And both playoff teams. I think the Lions offense is going to be fine. Maybe not what it was with Ben Johnson. And I think it's fair to speculate that. And what is Jared Goff without really elite level play callers, like Sean McVay and Ben Johnson. So I think it's fair to question some of that stuff. I'm not going to question that severely after 1 week, and especially against the Packers defense that has looked that good with Micah Parsons. Last time I checked, the Bears don't really have Micah Parsons on their roster.
I don't think so.
It's a decent defense. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's fine, but it's not that good. So I don't know if I like the Lions a lot in this one. I think with Chicago, Caleb has some things he needs to kind of knock out of his game, just because of the bad habits from last year. How bad the offensive line was, the offensive scheme, all of it was really bad. But I was encouraged by the start, and that if that's able to work its way deeper into games and he's more comfortable with the offense as the games go on, I think he's going to be just fine. But for now, it is a little bit of a wait and see how Caleb clicks with Ben Johnson. So I would lean the Lions. I don't love it though.
Yeah, Bears looked quite, a little bit of a mess in that week 1 game. Like you said, the accuracy issues with Caleb Williams. Bears 12 penalties for 127 yards in week 1. Like, not going to win a game. You're not going to win a game if you give up 127 yards in penalties in week 1. Jahmyr Gibbs, 19 yards, 9 carries. Again, a lot of people, fantasy-wise, drafting him pretty high, thinking he was going to be, on that level of, the Bijan Robinsons and Ashton Genties and things like that. Was that just an aberration? Is that just the Green Bay Packers? Or are we going to see more of a Jahmyr Gibbs RB1 type performance this week against the Bears?
Yeah, I think it was just the Packers.
Yeah, the Packers are like, are they that good? Are they really that good? Like, I mean, again,
their defense might be now.
Man.
Their defense might be because they have drafted on the defensive line, and they do have some guys there that maybe were playing a little bit below expectations, and now they're playing great, like we thought they would, because Micah Parsons is there, and everything just opens up a little bit more. Everything feels a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they're constantly knocking quarterbacks off their spot, like they have the first 2 weeks, it's tough to beat that. And we've seen, I think we know now, just with the stat of what the Eagles did last year in the Super Bowl, that, if you sack the quarterback without blitzing,
that's the game, right?
You can't do anything to beat that.
Right.
And so now Green Bay might have that with Micah Parsons there. And the fact that they do have, I think, a good secondary to go with it, and everything else on the other side of the ball offensively, yeah, they are like that. And I just think their defense, the results have spoken for itself, and against 2 very, very good offenses.
Yeah, the Vegas likes the lines quite a bit. Jahmyr Gibbs, anytime TD score, -155. David Montgomery, -105. Like 5 of the top 6 anytime TD scores are Lions. So I think, I think they expect a pretty decent game out of that Lions offense. A little bit of a bounce back for the Lions. Yeah, I've seen a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs anytime touchdown scores. Again, I think,
are you going with that? I've seen it too, and I don't know if I love it.
Yeah, I don't know if I love it. I mean, I like it more than Montgomery, because I think he's going to get more of that work at the goal line this year than in past years.
Eventually it's just going to be hard to take Gibbs off the field at all.
Yeah,
and Montgomery's great, but
right,
it's just hard to take a
he's
player
just
that
so
caliber.
dynamic, right? So it's like I just don't love it. Like there's a lot of, can I be honest with you? Like a lot of these anytime TD scorer bets, I don't love the value anymore. Like I don't see it. I don't see it there the way I used to see it.
But that happens though.
Yeah.
Because I think a good example of this is baseball. A lot of bettors started to look at strikeout props for pitchers. And then they the sports books started to inflate the lines a little bit because they knew everybody was going. So once you give attention to a type of bet, sports books pay attention to that and know like, hey, we can maybe inflate numbers. I agree with you. There have been some really inflated numbers out there, and it's hard to bet it. And I don't know if it's all that valuable anymore. Yeah, unless you're really digging deep.
Yeah, but I think you can find spots where there's value, but like I'm just just pick one, just Browns, Ravens. Derrick Henry anytime touchdown, -215. Like, what are we doing? I'm like, all right, like -215. Like, come on, like I don't expect plus money with Derrick Henry, but -215. I mean, like I have to put that in the 4-leg parlay, like to kind of make some.
I could never
money.
Justify that.
Right, like you can't bet that straight up. So it's like, all right, well. You got to throw it in there with a couple other, bets to kind of, get the plus money, which, not the biggest fan of, but I think there are some values out there on the board. I just don't see it, specifically with that game, specifically with Jahmyr Gibbs in that game. All right, we'll take a quick break. We have plenty of other games to get to on this edition of Countdown to Payout. Roy Burton, Jon Jansen here with you on Fox Sports The Gambler.
The ultimate celebration of music.
Our 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One,
is happening this Friday and Saturday.
Live in Las Vegas at T-Mobile Arena. 16 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage.
Streaming live only on Hulu.
And listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
This Friday and Saturday night, starting at 10:30.
Capital One is the proud presenting partner of iHeartRadio Music Festival, bringing great products, rewards, and services to its customers. What's in your wallet?
You own or manage a business here in Philadelphia. Are you unsure where to start when it comes to advertising? Well, here's a surprise. Fox Sports The Gambler, your local iHeart station, is the one place you can get it all. Hey, it's Sean Brace, and we can help with everything from radio and podcast ads to social media and digital. And we can even get local voices like mine spreading the word about your business. So if you're looking for someone to take care of it all, do yourself a favor right now. Call 844-844-iHeart or visit iHeartAdvertising.com today.
And here we have a specimen from the early 2000s, a legacy investing platform. Please don't touch the exhibit, folks. It could crash.
Ready to step out of the financial history museum? At public.com, you can invest in almost everything: stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind. Go to public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at public.com/disclosures.
Viant, innovative digital advertising. Didn't think you could advertise on the largest sports platforms? Think again. Viant helps brands show up where it counts on live sports, where audiences are the most engaged. It's simple, smart, and built for results you can actually measure. No wasted time, no wasted spend. Want better results? Visit ViantCTV.com today. That's ViantCTV.com to learn how easy data-driven advertising can be. Viant. Visit ViantCTV.com and get your message in front of the right audience today.
DraftKings presents a message on responsible gaming.
If you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right.
Whatever your wager, sometimes
you got to know when to hold 'em.
There are no locks or sure things, so
know when to fold 'em.
And if you feel like you're ready for a break,
know when to walk away.
Remember, it's more fun when it's for fun.
When the dealing's done.
Well said, man. Well said. At DraftKings, we believe it's more fun when it's for fun, and we want it to stay that way. We provide customers with helpful tools so they can set budgets, limits, and cool-off periods, and we encourage all customers to use these tools. So play responsibly. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus. Agent eligibility varies by jurisdiction.
At Straight Talk, we get it. You say no a lot.
Mom, can I get a tarantula?
No.
Coffee?
No. So we're giving you more reasons to say yes, like a free 5G phone with real unlimited data with select plan activation.
Can I use the free phone?
Yes. See, doesn't it feel good to say yes to more?
Absolutely. Face tattoo?
Absolutely not. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Taxes and fees apply. In-store activation of Gold Unlimited plan or higher required. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the end of summer sale at AutoZone. We're celebrating the end of long days and short nights with big deals for a short time, like car wash. Right now, you can save 20% on the Armor All Complete Car Wash Kit. Need new brakes? Duralast brake pads are free with the purchase of Duralast rotors. We've also got oil deals and more. We're ending the summer right with the end of summer sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Starting Stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement. Batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
The Gambler. Philly's home for all things sports gambling.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Also that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It was a typical day in Philly until the word got out. It's a crime to pay more than a dime. One dime down.
Just go to Springfield. Springfield Mitsubishi. Every vehicle is just a dime.
One dime down.
Plus, new Mitsubishis are $9 grand off. Yeah, $9,000 off MSRP.
And get 0% financing. 0 for 60 months at Springfield Mitsubishi.
Plus acres of pre-owned. All makes, all models.
And ask for credit. Amnesty. If you bring home $400 a week, you could get up to $30,000 in credit.
With just one dime down.
Up to $9,000 off MSRP.
And it's a crime to pay more than a dime. One dime down.
At Springfield Mitsubishi on Baltimore Pike.
They service all makes and models.
PhillyDrive.com.
PhillyDrive.com.
New 25 Outlander, 32.2, dime down, $535 a month, 72 months at 6% APR. Plus tax tag title to qualified buyers up to $9,000 off plug-in hybrid platinum through $930.
Back to school time means more traffic on the roads. Streets are packed and accidents are up on the rise. If you or a loved one are involved in any accident whatsoever, Uber, Lyft accident, car wreck, slip and fall, only one man to call. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Call my man Big Al. No fee until Big Al wins, and that's what exactly he does. Once again, 1-800-HURT-123. Call Big Al today.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
Action News meteorologist Peyton Domschke. Temperatures climb into the middle 80s today, making it the 7th day above average for September so far. Skies will turn partly sunny this afternoon, and while a spotty shower can't be ruled out, the chances are far and few between. We stay partly cloudy overnight with temperatures tumbling back into the low 60s for the city. Tomorrow starts bright with high clouds veiling the sunshine by tomorrow afternoon. This is all thanks to the movement of a coastal low, which will bring more clouds and scattered rain chances by midweek.
This report is sponsored by iHeartAdvertising.com.
Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
Hey, this is Matt Jones. I'm Drew Franklin, and this is NFL Cover Zero. We're just here to try to give you an NFL perspective a little bit different.
Did you see the Colts pretzel? That was my other big takeaway from that game.
What was that? Oh, my. We think NFL coverage should be informative and entertaining. And twice a week, that is exactly what you're going to get. Open up your free iHeartRadio app, search NFL Cover Zero with Matt Jones and Drew Franklin, and listen now.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
The ultimate celebration of music.
Our 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One,
is happening this Friday and Saturday.
Live in Las Vegas at T-Mobile Arena. 16 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage.
Streaming live only on Hulu.
And listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
This Friday and Saturday night, starting at 10:30.
Capital One is the proud presenting partner of iHeartRadio Music Festival, bringing great products, rewards, and services to its customers. What's in your wallet?
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Jam ups continue on northbound 95, Betsy Ross Bridge up to Cottman, where a vehicle fire blocks a lane. Southbound 95 off-ramp to the Vine blocked with an accident, and westbound on the Schuylkill, that off-ramp to the Vine blocked with a disabled vehicle. Jenny Robinson Barrett, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Compassion International.
Every day, a child in poverty waits for a sponsor is another day of hopelessness. There are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Just text the word radio to 83393.
You know what's great about your investment account with the big guys? It's actually a time machine. Log in and zoom. Welcome back to 1999. It's time for an upgrade. At public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind at public.com. Go to public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at public.com/disclosures.
Run a business and not thinking about podcasting? Think again. More Americans listen to podcasts than ad-supported streaming music from Spotify and Pandora. And as the #1 podcaster, iHeart's twice as large as the next 2 combined. So whatever your customers are into, true crime, sports, comedy, culture, they'll hear your message. Plus, only iHeart can extend your message to audiences across broadcast radio. And all this reach means everything. Just think about the universal marketing formula. The number of consumers who hear your message times the response rate equals the results. Now let's get those results growing for you. Think podcasting can help your business? Think iHeart. Streaming, radio, and podcasting. Let us show you at iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com. Or call 844-844-iHeart. One more time, call 844-844-iHeart and get podcasting working for you.
It takes decades of hard work to buy a home, but the hard work doesn't stop there. At Rocket Mortgage, we believe your home is an active investment, not a passive one. So let's put it to work. When you unlock home equity, you unlock new doors for your family, renovations, extensions, even buying your next property. Get started today with smarter tools and guidance from real mortgage experts. Find out how at rocketmortgage.com. Rocket Mortgage LLC, licensed in 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com.
Spreads, totals, and all the prop bets in between. It's The Gambler. The clock's ticking toward kickoff. This is Countdown to Payout. Your 2-hour sprint through the spreads, props, and fantasy plays that cash tickets on NFL Sunday. Now, here are your hosts, Sean Brace and Roy Burton.
Au contraire, mon frère. It is not Sean Brace. It is Jon Jansen and Roy Burton.
You nailed that.
Fox Sports The Gambler. Countdown to Payout. Sean Brace is probably, I'm not a turnpike guy. I know you've probably made that trip a few times to Penn State. Where is Sean Brace right now on the road back to Philadelphia?
Where's Sean Brace mentally right now?
Oh, yeah, that's another question. He
was hanging out with the kids this weekend, you know?
Oh, man. Yeah.
Two nights at a college town. I don't know. I don't even know if I could do that anymore.
Goodness.
So God bless him.
Yeah, like doing Jaeger bombs, you know, with kids taking Chem 101. You know, oh my God.
That just made my stomach turn.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Roy, what are you doing to me?
Speaking of Jaeger bombs,
let's get
the Jaeger bomb of games on this.
Do
on the
kids still
slate.
do that?
I think they do.
Really?
I think
that's a thing still.
I can't, like, if you're a kid in college, like, what do you like? What's your drink of choice? Like you know, has it changed? Are we doing just like the spiked seltzers?
I don't know. Maybe I guess spiked seltzers a lot for sure.
Sure,
but I don't know. Definitely Jaeger doesn't seem like it'd be in the rotation for the youths.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, yeah, I know, you know, when I was a kid, you know, we used to do the pitchers of Yingling because they were like $6.
Nice,
and that's all they used to give us at the campus grill. Shout out Temple University. But yeah, I'm sure kids have evolved past that, you know. So
yeah, there was when I was in college, we had dollar beers. That was special. That was really special.
That's a good time. That was a good time. Hopefully, everybody out there is drinking responsibly, doing everything responsibly, as we get ready for Week 2 in the NFL. Of course, Countdown to Payouts brought to you courtesy of our friends at Attorney Big Al. Attorney Big Al, 1-800-HURT-123. Injured at work, involved in a car wreck, there's only one man to call, and that is Big Al. Don't think twice. Call 1-800-HURT-123, and Big Al will be on the call. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jon Jansen, it's time now to talk about the Jaeger bomb of games this week. Week 2 in the NFL.
Gotta stop saying that.
Seahawks Steelers. The lowest total on the board.
That is such a great way to describe this game.
Goodness gracious. I was putting together notes for this week, and I'm like, I don't have a lot.
I got nothing.
My friend, actually, I've seen the total. The total's now up to 40.5, so it's not the lowest total on the board. It is tied for the lowest total on the board, along with Niners Saints.
Can Pittsburgh be good? I guess that was a good win.
That was a good win.
Offense looked good.
That was a good quality win against a little spunky little Jets team. Kudos to them.
Not convinced. Rodgers didn't look phenomenal. He had a good game, but there were still a lot of the issues that have plagued him. That the older he's gotten into his career, like he still does not like any pressure. He does not want to be hit.
No, doesn't want to be hit. But again, he had 4 touchdowns. Got Calvin Austin involved pretty frequently on Sunday. He spread the ball around a little bit last week. I just don't know what to make of the Steelers this week, and I don't know what to make of the Steelers now. And after this week, I still won't have an answer because I don't think the Seahawks are any good, to be honest with you. Like, this is not a very good Seahawks team. I mean, it's really Jackson Smith and Jigba on offense, and then you kind of, cross your fingers, say a couple prayers, and hopefully you figure out, where to get, 17, 24 points a game, because I don't know what's going on in that backfield. I don't know what's going on with anybody else on that team. Is Cooper Kupp done? I don't know. Is Kenneth Walker done? I don't know. There's a whole bunch of questions about the Seattle Seahawks offense. I think you can write them off for the NFC West, but again, the Steelers, is this a measuring stick for them? I don't think so, because I just don't think the Seahawks are that good. Like, this is a very bad team.
Maybe with the Steelers, just what is the consistency with your offense week to week, especially with Aaron Rodgers? Because that's also been an issue. It's just that some games he looks like himself, and sometimes he does look like a quarterback that's over the age of 40.
Yeah.
So that just the health and week to week how he looks, certainly even a game against Seattle is something to watch. Outside of that, though, I mean, Seattle stinks, and Sam Darnold probably is going to have a terrible season. It was great last year, but he's in Kevin O'Connell's offense, and I think that helped him a lot. And McDonald might not be a good coach.
Yeah.
I think that could be a huge issue for them as well. So I don't like much about the Seattle team. So I would have to defer to Pittsburgh.
Sure.
It's just that I don't know what my confidence level would be, especially in that offense. Just I don't know if they're capable of what they did last week every single week. Obviously, they're not going to score 30 every week, but just consistency, being able to put up points consistently. I just don't know if that's capable. They're an offense capable of that.
Zach Charbonnet, 58% of the snaps at running back for the Seahawks last week. Kenneth Walker, just 40. Deal or no deal? That's something we should kind of concern ourselves with as fantasy/DFS, owners, players. Like, is Zach Charbonnet RB1 in Seattle right now, or is this a kind of a TBD situation?
I would have to say it's still TBD, because I don't want to just push Kenneth Walker to the side and say he's not a playable running back. He is. But Charbonnet seems to maybe have taken the reins as RB1. It's just there's always going to be a floor because of how much work he's going to get. There is never, I think, going to be a time where he gets 80% of the snaps, or he gets 80% of the touches from the backfield. I just don't think that's ever going to be the case for Seattle.
Patriots, Dolphins 1.5 point favorites. I think the line is 43.5. The over under last I saw with this game. This game is a little bit more intriguing for multiple reasons, although the Dolphins seem like they have a lot of noise around them already. They had a week one players only meeting after that 33-8 loss to the Colts. Jon Jansen, I know you've watched the NFL quite a bit. How many week one players only meetings have you heard of? Probably zero, correct? Like, this is pretty rare.
Yeah, that's extremely rare.
Yeah.
That's a sign of just how bad things are in that locker room. And I don't even think, what can McDaniel do about it?
Right.
It's a lot of just there's a lot of egos in that locker room, and Tyreek Hill is at the top of that, and he's the one I think it all starts with him, and I think it just trickles its way down. I don't think it's how much else it's everyone. It's mostly Tyreek Hill is one of the best talents on their team, and he's looked at as a leader, or at least he was supposed to be looked at as a leader, and all he does is just cause problems for them, and even more problems being in the news again this week. But the spread has just gotten to a point. 1.5.
1.5.
When did New England get good? Like, why is it a pick 'em for New England on the road,
right?
Or getting close to essentially a pick 'em on the road for New England? When did they get good?
That's a very good question.
So Tua Tagovailoa is good against New England. He has a perfect record against them.
Yeah.
So I just don't. It's more of I like Miami in this game because of just that number does not make sense. That number is a huge overreaction to everything surrounding Miami, and the Colts. The Colts are better than New England, I think.
I would agree.
To me, the Colts are a better team than New England.
Yeah.
And like Drake May, I get is good, and we're expecting a second-year leap, and they have Mike Vrabel. I get it, but this is still not a good football team.
No.
It's still a bad football team.
No, I wrote in my notes. The Patriots have some pieces, but it still feels like they're a couple of years away. Like, they're not quite there. And I know Miami is a mess, but again, you have a Tyreek Hill, you have a Jalen Waddle, you have a Devon Achane, who's still one of the more dynamic running backs, in the NFL. And Tua is what he is. He's not a bad quarterback. I mean, like, you have enough pieces on offense, where you should be fine. The defense is a mess. I mean, like, they have nothing in cornerback right now. But I mean, this is an offense that should be able to put up some points. So you're right. Like, that line kind of is a little weird to me. I'm not really sure why the line is what it is. So give me the Dolphins.
It's just all like overreaction to just Miami stuff. It has nothing to do with New England. which is, to me, that doesn't make sense. This line also has to move if you think the team on the other side is actually good enough to be able to take advantage of all the issues Miami has. I don't think New England's that team.
Yeah. Give me the Dolphins. Give me that -1.5. Let's kind of keep it. Actually, want to switch gears a little bit. Rams 5.5 point favorites at Tennessee against the Titans. Cam Ward sacked 6 times in the opener. For those of you again who are DFS inclined, Calvin Ridley, the most rostered wide receiver in week 2 at DFS. I think he's like $6,400. I'll pull up the number on Calvin Ridley. I think he's going to get a ton of volume this week against the Rams.
He's got to catch it though.
Well, he's got to catch it, but I mean, he's going to get a ton of work. For the Titans against the Rams this week. Again, I don't have a good feel in this game. Again, I mean, I like the Rams, and I think the Rams will win, but I just don't think there's a lot of offensive firepower on the Titan side. But again, I just don't have a feel. Is this going to be a Kyron Williams just gets 30 carries and the Rams just bludgeon the Titans to death kind of thing, or is it going to be like a Puka Nacua and like a Devontae Adams, death by 1,000 paper cuts kind of thing?
Yeah, it just feels like the Rams are pretty content not being a high volume scoring offense.
Right.
That used to be the case with Sean McVay. It feels like they've kind of switched a little bit. Maybe they do realize their defensive unit's pretty good, and they are kind of content just running the ball.
Yeah.
And Matthew Stafford just making really good decisions. They looked great last week, but they only put up 14 points.
Right.
I think they were really content just being a methodical offense, especially, I guess, just with Matthew Stafford being as old as he is. If you're trying to find explosive plays, that means he's going to stand in the pocket a lot longer, and he's going to be more in harm's way. It's just more getting rid of the ball, running the ball, as you said, bludgeoning teams. And I think they do that. It's just, I do like the Rams. I don't know how much I love them in this game, just because, again, the offensive output just isn't what it usually is with Sean McVay. It's just that this is a bad matchup for Tennessee's offense. Their offensive line has a huge problem, and Cam Ward is still, it's his second game starting.
Yeah.
And if there's a bunch of traffic around him, it makes things difficult for any quarterback, and especially a rookie quarterback that doesn't really have anything in terms of skill position players to help out. So Rams defensive line is great. Jared Verse is, I think, going to feast this game, and it's going to cause a lot of problems for Tennessee's offense, just like Denver did last week.
Yeah, Cam Ward over under pass yards, a little high for me, 200.5.
Oh,
he had 112 last
that seems really high.
So if you're looking for an angle on this game, betting wise, he had 200.5, and I know they're at home, but 200.5 passing yards.
Yeah, I'm under
against the Rams. Yeah, like the under is -111.
I see him maybe more than last. 112 is low, but 160, 180 potentially for Cam Ward.
Yeah, 200.5. That's pretty healthy.
Because again, it's not like the Rams are going to put up a bunch of points and they're going to get pass happy.
Right.
This is still it's going to be a methodical game, and I don't see Cam Ward making that many big plays in the passing game.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty methodical game, and I think this game probably hits that under, like they're 41.5. Again, I just don't see the Titans scoring a lot, and even with Cam Ward, probably having to throw a lot in the third and fourth quarter, I just don't see the Titans, putting up, 14, 17 points to kind of match what the Rams have. So give me the under on that 41.5 as well. Jaguars at Bengals. We were talking about this in the break, so I will turn it over to you. This is the highest total on the board. Obviously, we have two, depending on your thoughts about this, two of the more talented quarterbacks in the NFL.
You know my thoughts. Huh?
I know your thoughts. I know your thoughts on this. And Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence. One of those, I'll say one of those quarterbacks had 10.3 fantasy points last week. The other one had 113 yards passing in week 1. Neither one of those got off to a great start fantasy-wise, but we have Joe Burrow, we have Trevor Lawrence, we have the highest point total on the board. Bengals 3.5 point favorites at home against the Jaguars. You think the dogs might be barking today?
I do. And the Jags offense last week, it was more running the ball. So the passing game wasn't great. And I'll admit, Trevor Lawrence didn't have like the best game. He was fine. There was nothing wrong with him. It's just he did miss some throws, wide open throws. You can kind of see two things happening that the game still is. Not the game's a little fast for Trevor. He had to speed up his process because the offensive line's been bad, because Doug Peterson's offense is so bad.
Mm-hmm.
He sped things up a lot last year. Feels like there were times he was slowing things down, and I think when he did speed things up a little bit too much, he missed wide open receivers. Once he kind of gets more comfortable, and I think that's going to happen quickly in Liam Cohen's offense, he's going to be fine. I think it could happen in this game against a bad Bengals defense that Cleveland had every opportunity to win that game and score a ton of points.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have the same opportunities. They're going to run really well. Liam Cohen has had really great rushing offenses, especially last year in Tampa Bay. That helps out a lot. The play action is going to help Trevor Lawrence, and I think you're going to see a big Brian Thomas Jr. connection in this game. And on the other side of that, Cincinnati had a big problem with Myles Garrett, and Myles Garrett is not playing in this game. He does not play for Jacksonville. No. Josh Allen Hines is good. Trayvon Walker is getting good. This is a good pass rush for Jacksonville. And their defense, maybe some questions at linebacker, maybe a little bit of questions in the secondary, even though I don't think their secondary is all that bad. But still, this is a defense that can get after the quarterback. So if that's a problem for Cincinnati, it's going to be a problem in this game against those two. So I just think Jacksonville kind of matches up well against them. So I'm going to take them as a 3.5-point dog.
Passing yards, you might be interested in this. Passing yards over under Trevor Lawrence, 244.5. Joe Burrow, 273.5 for Joe Burrow. I'm really intrigued by this passing touchdown number. Joe Burrow, two passing touchdowns, 2+ passing touchdowns, minus 245.
Wow.
They think Joe Burrow is going to sling it this week.
Yeah, I guess.
3 touchdowns, 3 passing touchdowns, plus 155 for Joe Burrow this week. 2 passing touchdowns for Trevor Lawrence, minus 103. I do like Brian Thomas. We talked about in the last segment. Touchdown bets. I do like the Brian Thomas anytime touchdown to plus 130 because he scored the rushing touchdown last week. I think he's going to get a bunch of targets.
I think they're going to connect for a big play.
So plus 130 passing TD. I do like Brian Thomas.
Awesome
this week. But yeah.
And one thing I might like Trevor Lawrence's touchdowns just because red zone issues were the biggest problem with Doug Peterson's offense. They couldn't score it all in the red zone. They made things look easy in the red zone last week. They had Brenton Strange for a wide open touchdown. The Brian Thomas Jr. run was a spectacular play design in the red zone. So if they have cleaned that up and that's a part of their offense now that works, that's a huge shift. Because they were able to move the ball. And Trevor's a good quarterback and can do it, and especially in this offense can do it. But if they're able to actually capitalize on red zone opportunities, that changes everything for them. So to see that in week 1 was pretty big.
We've got the biggest spread.
Look, Cynthia Freeland has Cincinnati winning 27-21. I got it wrong.
Yeah, what does Cynthia Freeland know?
Come on, Cynthia.
Come on. She had the under, though, 27-21, just under that 49.5. The biggest spread on the board this week, Browns at Ravens. Ravens 12.5-point favorites after that extraordinary game that we saw in week 1 that Jon Jansen said wasn't that good. Had no stakes.
Oh, my God, I did not say that.
Had no stakes. Just an average week 1 game.
I did not say that.
According to Jon Jansen. We see this every week. According to Jon Jansen. It's no big deal. Ravens Bills. No, seriously.
You got to make me look like the bad guy, Roy.
Grant Delpit said, you know what? Ain't that hard. Tackling Derrick Henry. No big deal. It's whatever.
That's smart.
We kind of do it all the time. Derrick Henry looked almost untackleable against the Bills last week. Looks like Derrick Henry is going to be maybe in line for a big game against the Browns. Although the Browns did hold the Bengals to 141 yards of total offense in week 1, including 7 yards in the second half of that game, which is an amazing number for an NFL team to only get 7 yards in the half of an NFL game and still win the game. But that being said, Derrick Henry today, his over-under rushing total, 99.5 against the Browns. Again, Derrick Henry 169 last week in that game against the Bills. 12.5 is a big number. I think it's the biggest number this early in the season we've seen in years. Been a long time since we've seen a 12.5 number in week 2 of an NFL season. I'm still probably going to take the Ravens, despite all that. Although we did get the news, Quinshon Judkins activated on Saturday. Probably going to get a decent amount of carries for the Browns running in the Browns running game. Probably at some point sooner rather than later will be RB1 for the Browns. So the offense probably gets a little bit of boost because Jerome Ford, which is awful and is awful. That being said, I think the Ravens offense is we saw it last week. I mean,
it's a juggernaut.
They threw the ball 19 times and scored 40 points. I mean, like against, a pretty decent Bills team. So I think they'll probably have not a similar script, but I think they'll be able to put up a pretty good amount of points this week, and the Browns just can't keep up.
Yeah. I mean, look, I know the postseason woes happen for Lamar Jackson, but I think he's kind of proven he's nearly unstoppable in the regular season. And I think it's going to happen in this game. And as many times as Baltimore, we've talked about a lot, they've blown big leads. They've also blown out teams too. Like this is a team very capable of winning a game by 20, 30 points. And I think this is one of those games where they can do it. And I know Flacco, look, he had 290 yards, and everybody's talking about, well, the offense moved the ball, they moved it. Joe Flacco has a turnover problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's talked about enough. In like the small amount of games that he has played in the last couple of seasons, and even with Cleveland, he threw a lot of picks. And finally, when they got to that postseason game, I think it was against Houston a couple of years ago, that was the biggest problem they had, is Joe Flacco just kept throwing picks. And that changed the game. If you're going to throw picks and you're going to turn over the ball against Baltimore with that offense, yeah, they're going to run up the score.
That's
a little
good
bit.
night.
So, 12.5. That's a big number in the NFL. I don't take that lightly. It's a really hard one to kind of swallow just because it is such a big number. I just don't think it's big enough for a team like Baltimore. They are certainly capable of blowing out teams.
So we talked, earlier in the show, first segment about, quarterbacks, taking what you get, right? Like whatever the defense gives you, you kind of take it, kind of matriculate the ball down the field that way. Last week, Mark Andrews, 5 more yards than you and me in that game. That's just a game where just Mark Andrews just got schemed out, and we see like a different Mark Andrews because there's no Isaiah Likely, so he's the guy. So was it just the Bills kind of taking Mark Andrews out of the scheme, or are we just seeing kind of like the Mark Andrews getting closer to the end of that career?
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's still reliable, so I think he can have a lot of Zach Ertz type games where he could have 5-6 catches for 50, 60 yards, and you just hope for a score. The problem is though that this offense just can easily get the ball down the field.
Right.
And Mark Andrews isn't the guy to do that with. So if you're able to run the ball easily, if Lamar Jackson's able to push the ball down the field easily, you don't have to go to your safety valve. You don't have to go underneath a lot. And it just leaves Mark Andrews in this no man's land of they don't need it. They don't need him.
Right.
So they're going to use him at times. And there's going to be some stat lines that he has where he does catch a couple of passes, but it's never going to be for anything that great. So yeah, I think we're kind of past Mark Andrews as a reliable fantasy tight end. I don't think there's enough use for him, or that even Baltimore has a use for him.
Yeah. Bills versus Jets. Are the Jets for real? This offense looked pretty good.
Are the Jets for real?
No, I'm saying like
I know they did.
Like, Justin Fields had one of his better games of his career.
Yo, awesome! Not even just better. That was an awesome game. He played the quarterback position.
That was an awesome game, but Bills Ravens not.
No.
no.
The game that he played, like Justin Fields himself, that individually that game, he played the quarterback position the way it was supposed to be, like the way it should be. And man, if that's the kind of growth he has and the maturity now he has to play that position, dude, he's got the talent.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I'm all in, but I think I'm going Jets here. Whoa. I think the Jets can even beat him.
Oh, outright Jets. 6-point dogs to the Bills.
I'm going to regret that.
47.5. Here's the thing. Like the Jets, if the Jets are going to win this game, obviously they're going to have to run the ball 58 times, right? Like just control the clock. You're not going to get in the shootout. Like, Breece Hall left, Breece Hall right, Braylon Allen, excuse me, and Justin Fields. If those guys have like 40 rushing attempts between them, I think this is probably a pretty close game. Like I can talk myself into a Jets win. I won't, but I could, because I could see them controlling the game and waiting for the Bills to make a mistake.
Ed Oliver's out.
Yeah, and
that's a big piece inside.
A huge piece. That's a huge piece. And the Jets, to their credit, have scored 23 points or less. Well, not to their detriment. Have scored 23 points or less in each of their last 12 meetings with Buffalo. So you have to keep it a low scoring game. But you got the tools to you can move the ball with your receivers and with your backs. Like again, check down. I think Mason Taylor. I think he's playing today. I think he's healthy and ready to go. You don't have to throw 18 deep balls to Garrett Wilson to win this game. I mean, you can control the ball on the ground. Win the time of possession battle and slug it out to a 23-20 win. I think they can. I just don't think they will. I mean, I think this is just a Josh Allen. Josh Allen make 3 or 4 plays for us to win us this game.
Josh Allen masterclass is what you're
another
me.
Josh Allen masterclass. Josh Allen again, the most rostered quarterback in DFS in week 2. Largely because of what we saw last week against the Ravens. But yeah, no, I think this is a good spot for the Jets. This is a winnable spot for the Jets. I do like the Bills. Just because you have a guy like I do like the Bills because you have a guy like Sauce Gardner who's probably going to cover. I assume Keon Coleman, I guess, is the wide receiver one for the Bills. If he shadows Keon Coleman and kind of locks him down, then I'm not sure, what else, they're going to do. So yeah, give me the Bills, but I don't love it. Like I really don't love this game from that. I will say this: Breece Hall over 61.5 rushing yards. One of my favorite bets of the week. I think the Jets just run the ball like crazy this week because that's the only chance they have to win.
Yeah, I think they are going to do that. And Justin Fields as a runner is going to be impactful in this game. I actually am going to take the number with the Jets. I don't think they win. I think that is on the table though for them. And I think this is going to be a very close game. I'm convinced that this offense can make enough plays to make this a game. That's a big thing for me. If you have the offense capable of that, yeah, you can make a game like this close against a team like Buffalo. So I'm going to take the number. It's a big number. And again, if the offense can make plays like that, this is too big of a number. Then
the last of the 4:00 games, Panthers at Cardinals. Panthers, I believe, are 7-point favorite. 7-point dogs to the Cardinals in Arizona. 45.5 is the number. I don't really have much of a read on this game other than the fact that the Panthers run defense absolutely stinks. It was the worst. It was the worst run defense in the league last year. And so my line, I don't love laying the 7 with the Cardinals, but I do love, James Conner over, I believe the number is now 68.5 rushing yards, minus 114. I think this is a James Conner, 100-yard or 90-yard, 100, touchdown game for him. I think he kind of gets loose today. But again, Ted McMillan for the Panthers, he should be able to kind of get open. I think his over-under receptions is 4.5. I don't love this game from a line standpoint. I probably wouldn't bet the line. I'd probably bet the under if anything. But as far as props, I do like James Conner over rushing yards and Tedero McMillan over 4.5 receptions.
Yeah, and after the end of last year, I thought we were kind of past questioning whether or not Bryce Young could be a starting quarterback. It's not that he's in the upper echelon. All that. It's like, yeah, okay, he's a starter. At the end of last year, I think we firmly could say that and be confident that that's what he's going to be. Now, again, is he going to be an amazing quarterback? Who knows? But he can start in this league.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised how much of a regression last week looked. I mean, he looked rattled all over again. He looked like first-year Bryce Young all over again. The fact that showed up so early this season, that is a huge red flag to me. And Arizona's defense is good. Like Jonathan Gannon's a good defensive coordinator, and they picked up Josh Sweat, who looked really good in week 1. And I know it was just Spencer Rattler, but I like Arizona's defense. I think they have a solid defense. So I think they're going to cause Bryce Young problems all over again.
I agree.
So I like Arizona, and the full touchdown, that's where I have some pause.
Okay, yeah.
That for sure. That's like once you get to that number,
right.
I'm going to have some pause. But I would lean that way, and it's just I think Carolina is close to maybe disaster territory again. Again, how Bryce Young played and what it looked like was a huge red flag of like, oh no, this is bad again.
Right,
I thought we were way past these problems, and the fact that it showed up again and in week 1, I just maybe he's starting to, maybe he is that quarterback again.
Yeah, no, you can make, if they have another bad showing, you can make a case that the Panthers and the Saints are probably in that mix to be the two worst teams in the NFC.
Yep.
But we'll see what happens after this game against the Cardinals today at 4:00. Sunday night, Falcons-Vikings. We have a 2024 national championship rematch. J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix. J.J. McCarthy looked like hot garbage in that first half of that game last week against the Bears. And then he turns around and wins Offensive Player of the Week. What an amazing comeback for the rookie who's not a rookie.
J.J. McCarthy won Offensive Player of the Week?
Offensive Player of NFC Offensive Player of the Week.
Were NFC offenses that bad last week?
Did you go back and look at NFC offensive performances last week?
Was it that bad?
It was awful.
So the Eagles and Dallas are probably two of the better offensive performances.
It was literally, it was him and like Emeka Ibuka. Like they were the best 2 performances last week on the NFC side. It was bad. It was really bad. But yeah,
so just 1 quarter from J.J. McCarthy, and it's like that's the best I've seen McCarthy this week. I guess
puts the cape on in the 4th quarter. Runs in for the touchdown. Hey man, you know what? Whatever. He's a quarterback. He threw for a couple. Sure, why not? J.J. McCarthy. I know it's early to say, but like, are you at all convinced that J.J. McCarthy can be a guy in this league?
In Kevin O'Connell's offense,
sure.
Yes. And to be fair to J.J. McCarthy, and I think he said the amount of days, it was a long time that he has played football.
Yeah.
That was his first game since the 2024 national championship game.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. That's 2 years. That's
time.
That's almost like 2 years of football 2 seasons of football that you missed, or it just feels like such a long time that he's played. And I think he knocked off a lot of rust and had to knock off a lot of rust. But once he started to get comfortable, he was making every single throw that you saw on his tape in Michigan and that you see that quarterbacks in O'Connell's offense have to make. He's a perfect fit. And finally in that 4th career, like That's what a Kevin O'Connell quarterback's supposed to look like. And so I think now that he has that game under his belt, he has 4 quarters under his belt, that he will show up in the first quarter and not the last one. So I think there's going to be more consistency in this game. I think Minnesota's a better team. Minnesota's defense is awesome. I think that should play a part in the Caleb Williams week 1 story too.
Sure.
That Brian Flores is a great defensive coordinator. And this was a really good Minnesota defense last year. And Atlanta, I didn't necessarily love on offense in week 1. They have a great running back in Bijan Robinson, and Michael Penix is good, but he makes big plays, but he's still inaccurate.
Yeah.
And I think that is going to be a problem for them at times. I just think Minnesota is going to confuse them. They're going to be great in this game. I like Minnesota at home. I think JJ McCarthy is a big game. I'll lay the 3.5.
So last week, Jordan Mason outsnapped, outtouched Aaron Jones. I'm looking at the DraftKings lines. Rushing yards over under Jordan Mason 58.5, Aaron Jones 42.5. So clearly Vegas seems that, believes that Jordan Mason is going to be the RB1.
Aaron Jones seems like more of a receiver for them.
Yeah, he's
I don't know if you remember the training camp stuff. He was catching a lot of passes in training camp.
Right.
And that led its way to, that one catch, huge play for them. So yeah, he seems more like a receiver almost.
Yeah, so that's my question to you. Like, is Jordan Mason the RB1 in terms of, carrying the ball? And is we're seeing now the evolution of Aaron Jones as being more of the, the third down receiving back for the Vikings?
Yeah, I think that's the role they're kind of giving him. Because I guess Kevin O'Connell sees something in Aaron Jones. He's been a great pass catcher his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
But just to hear so much of that in training camp and see already in week 1 that they were able to dial up and play in the passing game, and how much Jordan Mason was getting usage-wise in the running game, he seems like their primary running back.
Right.
Like if they are in a running situation, Jordan Mason is in. So yeah, I think that's the way of looking at it, that Jordan Mason is going to get the majority of the carries, and in passing situations, Aaron Jones is going to get the majority of the targets out of the backfield.
Yeah, Jordan Mason doesn't even have a number, doesn't even have on the receptions over under on DraftKings.
Jeez.
Aaron Jones over 2.5 minus 121. So yeah, so I think the writing's clear. It's clearly on the wall that we have a new running back situation in Minnesota. Aaron Jones, again, heck of a career. Kudos to you, but you're probably now the third down, receiving back for the Vikings. Before we get out of here, I know we got to get out of here. Give me your crystal ball prediction, Jon Jansen. When all said and done, week 2 is in the books.
Gosh. Oh,
right?
God. Week two. Yeah.
What are we talking about? What's the story? What's the big storyline in the NFL?
Oh man,
so if you're coming in Monday, you're hosting in place of Sean, who hasn't gotten back from state college yet. He's like, yeah, you got.
There's a piece of Sean that will never come back from state college.
That's true. That's true. He's left some pieces of himself up in Happy Valley this week.
That's a great question.
I'll say this. I'll start off. I think the story of the weekend will be that the Bills and the Eagles establish themselves as one of the top 2 teams in their respective conferences. I think the Eagles come out. I think they have a pretty solidly convincing win, against the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think the Bills come out with another strong victory. And I think, we look at this and say, you know what? We know that, come the end of January, it's going to be Bills, Ravens. It's going to be Eagles, Packers. I think we're pretty solid on that, by the end of week 2.
Yeah, I think we got some of this after week 1, but I think even more so after week 2, just because he's playing a better team. I think it's going to be the Justin Fields figure it out. Like Justin Fields has arrived kind of game.
Really?
I think that there is great potential for that. And I obviously, when the spotlight is on you in a division game against Josh Allen and the Bills, especially what they did in week 1, I think for the most part, Baltimore is still considered the best team in the AFC, but Bills got the win. And so I think there's a lot of people that think very, very highly of Buffalo, and they should. But I think the Jets can absolutely win this game. And I think Justin Fields is going to get a lot of talk after week 2 of, hey, maybe this guy has absolutely arrived. The talented quarterback that went to, big time recruit, a great career at Ohio State, finally figured it out in the NFL.
Appreciate that. Jon Jansen, thank you for joining me, by the way, here.
Thanks for having me. I had a great time.
Countdown to payout. Like I said, we got a lot smarter, a lot better looking this week with you in studio. Cousin Nikki checked in on the YouTube. He said, shout out Wheelhouse Cards.
Hey, shout out Wheelhouse.
Jon Jansen comes in, doesn't bring any packs.
No, I should do that.
You got to bring in some next week. You got to bring in some packs.
Next week, I'll do that. I'll rip some packs.
We got to rip some packs on the show because again, like I collect a little bit, and I'm trying to get back in the game.
Are you really?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm in the game, so we're gonna rip some packs.
So I will promise. I'll bring in maybe a little like blaster box or a pack in, and we'll rip some cards.
So we're gonna rip some cards. Hopefully, we're gonna rip some cards after the Eagles' victory today against the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, this was Countdown to Payout here on Fox Sports The Gamble. Keep it locked. What time we have?
So we have Green Legion Radio for the Eagles for some pregame stuff happening at 3:00.
So 3:00, Green Legion Radio. Keep it locked here on Fox Sports The Gambler for all things Eagles, fantasy, gambling, all sorts of good stuff. But that is it for this week's edition of Countdown to Payout. Roy Burton, Jon Jansen. We'll be back with you next week. Go Birds.
Do you own or manage a business here in Philadelphia? Are you unsure where to start when it comes to advertising? Well, here's a surprise. Fox Sports The Gambler, your local iHeart station, is the one place you can get it all. Hey, it's Sean Brace, and we can help with everything from radio and podcast ads to social media and digital. And we can even get local voices like mine spreading the word about your business. So if you're looking for someone to take care of it all, do yourself a favor right now. Call 844-844-iHeart or visit iHeartAdvertising.com today.
This is the story.